What is good, everyone in YouTube land? What is going on, y'all? Kyle here from Wrestling with Fans. It's WrestleMania week. I don't know about y'all, but I'm pumped. Like, last week I know on the show I said I wasn't. This week I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for WrestleMania. Only because it's WrestleMania week. But started here a few minutes later than I really wanted to. Just for a couple things. I haven't streamed in so long. Turn that off so y'all might actually be able to hear me. But I haven't streamed in so long, so I'm trying to remember how to do this. Get my lights set up all over the place, and got some camera work here. Like I got one camera here, and then I got another camera. Let me turn that off. Another camera up here. So I'm trying to upgrade the setup here, guys. So we'll get some more people in here as we go along. We got something fun to do. Talked about it on this week's podcast, which was released this morning, that we are going to be doing some tier ranking here on the show tonight. We are going to be tier ranking the WrestleMania main events. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. So let's do this. Here we go. Perfect. And it's still in. Nah, it's not actually in order. I have to change the order here before we get going. But, so yeah, what is good, y'all? For those who may not know, Facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hawk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here at Wrestling with Fans. If you are watching the stream now, you already know about the YouTube. So make sure you click that subscribe button to turn your notifications on. Man, I feel like it's like riding a bike, man. I haven't streamed in so long. I almost don't even remember some of the stuff that I would normally say here on the live stream. So there's that, and let's get this other one in here. You can follow on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. You can also check us out on the web at wrestlingwithfans.com. New audio shows are posted every single Monday morning, 6:05 a.m. Eastern, so you can start your week off right with the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Also, take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans podcast. Last but not least, shoot us an old-fashioned email. If you have any feedback, topics, anything like that you want us to talk about, anything at all. We'd love to hear from all of you. wwfshow@gmail.com. So we're going to talk some last-minute Monday Night Raw stuff. Talk about the official Raw preview for tonight. Then, like I said, we're going to tier rank the WrestleMania main events from all 37 previous WrestleManias. So stay tuned for that. So let's pull up the old E. Let's pull up the E. WWE.com. I know they have a jam-packed Monday Night Raw for tonight, which is coming in about 21 minutes. So Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns will both appear on the last Raw before WrestleMania, the Go Home Edition, which is one of the best shows of the year. You also have RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Champions, taking on Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Should be a pretty good match. And then we have an 8-woman tag match of the 4 teams from the Women's Tag Team title match this weekend at WrestleMania. On one side, you've got Natalya, Shayna Baszler, Queen Zelina Vega, and Carmella, your Women's Tag Team Champions. They will be taking on the team of Sasha Banks, Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan. There was also some word that Charlotte and Ronda were going to be in a tag match with Becky and Bianca. So there's going to be, mixed tag, but apparently that's not happening according to Ronda. And then the big rumor, Cody Rhodes will make his presence known here on Monday Night Raw tonight. That is the rumor. We're playing the the storyline up with Seth and McMahon. They posted the video of the meeting from today, which I have unfortunately have not had the opportunity to see yet. I literally just finished dinner 20 minutes ago and rushed to come up here to finish getting everything set up. We'll talk about that. I got some cool figs. I haven't done fig stuff in a while. Fig stuff. I got some cool figs to show off. Some things that I've picked up in recent weeks. And again, like I said, the main event of the show would be tier ranking the WrestleMania main events. But let's look. Let's take a look here. Let's see. Let's switch. Let me switch cameras here. Let's switch cameras. We'll go up to this camera. Now, it might be hard to see. You can kind of see, for those who may have seen the videos before, I've got the backdrop up. I've got my flag here, my wrestling pops. I've got a bunch of Star Wars stuff here. And let me move out of the way. Of course, I've got some of my men on card stuff up here on the wall. My Donatello Undertaker, my Taker Retro, my, let's see, the Kane Motu figure, and then the Macho Man Randy Savage Micro Brawler. Got my belts up, and of course, I finally was able to find a place to hang my big Wrestling with Fans banner that Jen got me like 2 years ago. Just did not have the space in the old studio, but we got plenty of space here in the brand new studio. And of course, you can see here behind me, I don't know which way would be easier. Let me just do this. I'll just pick the camera up. You can see I've got a whole table. I got like the Bad Batch over here. I've got a giant Mando, some other stuff from like Star Wars things. So, and then up on the wall over here, you can see I got a little Undertaker shelf going, a little Kane shelf going. There's going to be a big shelf on the wall behind the camera where a lot of the wrestling figs are going. I'll probably set up a fig camera at some point as well, just to allow everybody to see all the good stuff. But let's jump real quick. Let's do the non-wrestling stuff first. Let's do the non-wrestling stuff, because I think this is really cool. And it's very topical to what's coming up. Hello there. This is from the new Black Series Retro card. Got good old Obi-Wan Kenobi. Super excited. I'm super excited for the Obi-Wan TV show, y'all. Super excited for the Obi-Wan TV show. So I picked up Obi-Wan Kenobi. And also from that line, for all of you Knights of the Old Republic fans, Darth Revan. You see there, I don't have the best lighting right now, but you can kind of see a good look at his face. Got the two lightsabers, his cloak, and this is all soft goods. Super cool. This is all from that new line that also included Leia in the white dress. Excuse me. And I don't remember why a 501st Legion trooper, I believe, is also in that line. Also some non-wrestling stuff for our anniversary last month. Jen got me a really, really cool 2-pack. The Johnny Lawrence Donatello. It's the Ninja Turtles Cobra Kai crossover. She did give me Donnie with Johnny Lawrence. Oddly enough, like these are like super articulated. Each finger articulates. Each toe articulates. A lot of articulation in the legs. A lot of articulation in the feet. And you kind of see like he's just a regular Ninja Turtle figure underneath. But he does come with the white and purple gi there with his bow staff. And Johnny as in the black Cobra Kai gi there. You can get a good look at that. The likeness is pretty good on Johnny. Get that focus. There we go. It's not bad. Super happy to get these in the collection. Now, after I get these now, I feel like I kind of got to get all of them. But, so be it. What else have we got? Oh, we got this. What up, dude? Got the Undertaker Ultimate Edition. Found him at local Targets about a month ago, probably. Super awesome figure. Got his cloak here. One thing I didn't know about his jacket, is actually the cape portion is soft goods. But the detail in it, super awesome. Get the focus there. Look at the back. Super, super cool. Super excited to have this one. And of course, which means I also got the Big Red Machine Kane. Now, originally, I was one of the unfortunate ones. And for those of you who have the Ultimate Edition Kane, if you got one of the early ones, you know all about the miscolored arm, where the joints inside the arm were not painted red. And also there were some issues with the mask. Might be a little hard to see, but that little spot right there above my finger, if it'll focus in, should be painted black. So there were some mispaints on both head sculpts. And of course, Mattel, being the awesome people that they are, were made aware of the situation by a lot of people. And then they actually sent out the parts. They were on back order for a little bit. But as of right now, if you can't tell, I do have the proper Kane arm that is all red. And I have the properly painted Kane mask. So I'm super stoked to have the Brothers of Destruction. They're going to go in those little shelves up there. Trying to think. And that's really all for toy stuff. But other stuff I've got out. I mean, I've got, just because, I got to have Adam Cole, baby. He's still out. Here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. This is like a super hard figure to find. I can't believe I found the Roddy Piper. But of course, I've got setting up for the big WrestleMania main event. Got Brock Lesnar with the WWE Championship. And acknowledge him, Roman Reigns. I need to paint his gauntlet red now that it's red. I painted this one from black to gold, and then he goes from gold to red. So now I've got to update this, make this one red to make it more current. And I've also got the Finding Moments Macho. It's just one of my all-time favorite figures. It's sitting here on the desk right now. As well as the Stone Cold Steve Austin Ultimate Edition with my custom middle finger hand there. So yeah, that's kind of all the wrestling stuff I have out right now. I don't have a lot of wrestling stuff out. Still working on getting, things set up. Just trying to make the room a little more mine. You can see I've got my big, actually you can't see from this camera angle. So that's this camera angle. You can see I've got my Stormbreaker here in the back. I need to find a good place to hang that up. I've got some artwork up on the walls and around the corner, which you can't currently see from this angle. But really excited to have this office is starting to come together after being in this house now for almost 5 months. Wow, it's hard to believe 5 months been here. It's the beginning of December. So, yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. Let me check to see if there's anything. Let's check the good stuff here. Okay, so the meeting. I'm going to read the notes from the meeting. So, okay, well, I guess Cody will not be on Raw tonight. If this is, in fact, the way they're going. Because, of course, according to every insider, it is confirmed that it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania this weekend. Seth Rollins is going into WrestleMania, but his opponent won't be confirmed until he's in the ring at the show. After setting up over the weekend that Rollins will be meeting with Vince McMahon this morning, WWE uploaded video of the meeting to social media. McMahon informed Rollins that he'll have a match on the WrestleMania card. When Rollins asked who his opponent will be, McMahon said it would be someone of McMahon's choosing. McMahon said Rollins will learn his opponent when he's in the ring at WrestleMania, and his opponent is introduced. And if you go over to WWE's official Twitter, they have the video of that meeting on there. So, fortunately, the rumor of Cody being on Raw, I'm guessing is not the case. It's still expected that it's going to be Cody versus Rollins at WrestleMania, which I think should be a pretty darn good match. The one thing I wish about this storyline that I'm not a big fan of is I wish they would just kind of cut out I don't have a path to WrestleMania. I don't have, way to WrestleMania. Like, I'm not buying it. But, and apparently that match will go on night one. So it'll be night one. That is, if I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for WrestleMania 38. I talked about it on this week's show. Nothing. Oh, actually, we do have another match that was added. According to this, which I haven't really seen anything else about it, but I've heard that this was possible. King Woods and Kofi Kingston will be taking on Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Pete Dunne in their corner. I'm not going to say his other name. Pete Dunne, the Butch. So that's match. So we know we have 7 matches on night 1, 6 matches on night 2. We still don't know where KO and Austin's segment will be. It's being rumored to be on night 1. And if you listen to the audio show, which released earlier this morning, I talked about my major disappointment with the fact that the Intercontinental Champion Ricochet and the U.S. Champion Finn Balor will not be defending their titles on WrestleMania. Finn is in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which will take place at WrestleMania SmackDown on Friday night. And Ricochet will be defending against Humberto and Angel Garza in a triple threat match also on WrestleMania SmackDown this coming Friday night. And I'm really disappointed because I think both of those guys have more than earned an opportunity to wrestle on the main WrestleMania card. So I'm kind of slightly disappointed about that, but I guess there's nothing you can do. They got to have something to put on SmackDown. Of course, after SmackDown this week, you got the Hall of Fame. I guess I'll run down since, for those who don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on this week. So, of course, we got Monday Night Raw coming to us in about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes away from Monday Night Raw. And then we also have Tuesday night, we got NXT, the go-home edition before NXT Stand and Deliver. I broke that down on the audio show this week. Go down in the links in the video description below to find the link to the website, and you can listen to this week's show or download it to your favorite podcast listening device. Check it out. I ran down all that stuff. We got NXT Tuesday. Wednesday will be Dynamite, non-WWE, but Dynamite will be in its normal Wednesday time slot. Thursday will be Impact at NXT UK. So really it's the only night off of mainline WWE. And then Friday, jam-packed Friday. You got Friday Night SmackDown, the WrestleMania SmackDown as they're dubbing it, as well as the 2022 WWE Hall of Fame. Now, they just announced earlier today the latest inductees, but let's run them all down. Let's run down the entire class of 2022. Of course, we know the headliner, the man himself. What up, dude? The Undertaker will be the headliner for the 2022 WWE Hall of Fame class, be inducted by Vince McMahon himself. We also know that Vader will be inducted as well by Mick Foley. Queen Sharmell will be inducted by her husband, Booker T. And we have the Warrior Award. Now, remember about 2 years ago, the tragic story of Shad Gaspard, who tragically passed away drowning in California. He instructed lifeguards to save his son and not him. Shad was taken by the waves and his body was later found a couple days later, I believe. And there's been a big campaign online for the WWE to give him the Warrior Award posthumously. So, well deserved. Maybe one of the most deserving Warrior Awards that they've done. There's also on wrestling Twitter I don't want to say a petition, but kind of a wave of support to rename the Warrior Award the Shad Gaspard Award, because there's a lot of things the Warriors pass that aren't very PC. And you can Google search that if you want to go into some of the horrible, nasty things that the Ultimate Warrior has said over the years. But the Shad Gaspard Award, I think, will be in a really good touch. Yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. And then the newest inductees just announced earlier today. It's Rick. It's Scott. It's the Steiner brothers. The Steiner brothers are going to be the latest additions to the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2022. No word yet on who they are going to be inducted by. My initial guess will be Braun Breaker, which is Rick Steiner's son, the former NXT champion. And then Terry over on Instagram had commented saying maybe Ted DiBiase. DiBiase was the Steiner Brothers manager for a brief moment in their WWE run back in the 90s. So you can see, the $1 Million Man come out since he was their initial manager when they came in, or maybe even Braun Breaker. So we'll see what happens. And if we get any update on that, we'll make sure we update here on the YouTube channel. Because again, guys, I'm going live each and every night except for Friday. Unfortunately, I can't pull off Friday. All right, so let me pull this up real quick. We're going to get into tier list in these WrestleMania main events. And we'll probably go a little bit into Raw tonight, which is fine. Might go a little into Monday Night Raw's time, which I'm sure some of y'all won't mind. Y'all down to talk some wrestle with me in the chat. If you're in the chat, if you haven't done so already, give the video a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm setting up the thing here so we get that locked in. Surround a little bit. I can't move that right down into there. Okay, so we can still see. Like I said, I haven't done this in a while, so I kind of threw this together last minute for y'all. But we're going to have a lot of fun here. Should be a lot of fun. So yeah, Raw is about 5 minutes away. I'm going to pull up Monday Night Raw on my computer. If I'll be able to, but I will give it an honest effort. Yep, I need that. So I'm going to switch over. I'm going to pull it up on my phone while we're talking here. And then let's get ready to move this over here so I can see this. Make sure we got this set up. All right, guys, we are ready to go. Yeah, we are tier listing. Oh, man, I can't talk. We are tier listing the WrestleMania main events. Now, if you've never seen one of these lists before, basically what we do, there are different tiers that we put this stuff in. And the tiers are the GOAT, the greatest of all time. We have near perfect, emphasize athleticism, where it's a pretty darn good WrestleMania. Par for the course, you're middle of the road, nothing too special, nothing too horrible. And then meh. And then the one that you don't want to be because reasons. Which, I don't know if anything will hit actual because reasons. We'll see. But let's start off with the very, very first WrestleMania. The very first WrestleMania took place March 31st, 1985, in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden in New York City. It was the greatest wrestling event of all time, at least at the time. Now, there were 9 matches on the card. Tito Santana defeated the Executioner. King Kong Bundy defeated Special Delivery Jones in 25 seconds. Ricky Steamboat beat Matt Bourne before he was under the Doink makeup. Brutus Beefcake versus David Sammartino ended in a double DQ. JYD defeated Greg Valentine via countout. Valentine was the Intercontinental Champion at the time. The Iron Sheik and the Nikolai Volkov won the WWF Tag Team Championships from the U.S. Express, which was Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo. Then Andre the Giant defeated Big John Studd in the Career versus $15,000 Body Slam Challenge. Wendy Richter became the WWF Women's Champion by defeating Leilani Kai. And in the much hyped about main event, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T defeated Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Rowdy Piper, with Muhammad Ali and Pat Patterson were the special guest referees. Orndorff and Piper also had Cowboy Bob Orton in their corner. Now, I got to give a little leeway here because there are a lot of people aren't big fans of the first WrestleMania, and I understand that. But had the first WrestleMania failed, we would not be here talking about WrestleMania right now. Vince put it all on the line for this match. The hype was around, crazy behind it. Hogan and Mr. T were everywhere. Saturday Night Live, talk shows, everything. They were pumping. The hype train for WrestleMania was all over the place, and it delivered. Now, it wasn't the most flashy WrestleMania, but I got to give the first one a solid emphasize athleticism. I feel like it at least deserves to be above the line. Now, there's a lot of people who may not like it, may put it lower on the list, but not me. I am a big fan of that first WrestleMania. Moving on to WrestleMania 2. Now, this is a really unique WrestleMania. It took place April 7th, 1986, in 3 separate venues: the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois, right outside of Chicago, and the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, of course, in Los Angeles, California. 3 events. Technically, I guess each arena had its own kind of like miniature main event, but the actual main event of the card was Hulk Hogan taking on King Kong Bundy in a big blue solid steel cage match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Hogan won by escaping the cage in just over 10 minutes. There's a lot of other matches on this card as well. Just some notable ones: Randy Savage and George the Animal Steel for the Intercontinental Championship. Mr. T defeated Roddy Piper in a boxing match. That was all in the Nassau Coliseum. Then over at Rosemont Horizon, you had the big WWF versus NFL Battle Royal, which was won by the late, great Andre the Giant. It also saw the British Bulldogs with Ozzy Osbourne in their corner, defeating the Dream Team of Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake. And really the only thing on the LA card was Hogan and King Kong Bundy. To me, this match was meh. To be perfectly honest, this is one of my least favorite WrestleMania main events. One of my least favorite WrestleMania main events. I missed the big blue steel cage. But, it is what it is. Moving on to WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 3. One of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. I don't know if you can hear the dogs in the background, but I apologize. It took place March 29th, 1987, from the Pontiac Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan. 93,173 disputed as the official attendance. At the time, a record. A lot of people say it was closer to like 60-some thousand. But we got 12 big matches on this card. Now, there are some things to highlight here. Hillbilly Jim the Haiti Kid and Little Beaver took on King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook. So you had Hillbilly Jim and 2 midget wrestlers taking on King Kong Bundy and 2 midget wrestlers. Excuse me. Then we had Harley Race defeating the Junkyard Dog in a loser must bow match. We had Danny Davis and the Hart Foundation defeating Tito Santana and the British Bulldogs in a really good 6-man tag match. And in one of the greatest wrestling matches in WrestleMania history, but, wrestling in general, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat defeats Macho Man Randy Savage for the Intercontinental Championship. And in the main event, arguably the biggest wrestling match in history. Arguably. Because there's a couple other matches on this list that you might be able to make a case for. Andre the Giant taking on Hulk Hogan for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Hulk Hogan winning the match in 12 minutes. To me, this is near perfect. They told such an amazing story. The build, the whole story leading into WrestleMania was absolutely crazy. Of course, it wasn't, a wrestling classic, so to speak, but it was just a really, really awesome match to watch. Just the story these two guys told in the ring was just amazing. It is near perfect. Moving on to WrestleMania 4. Now, WrestleMania 4 is interesting because there isn't actually an advertised main event. It was touted as a rematch between Hogan and Andre the Giant. It was a tournament to determine the brand new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. And in the finals, which was the main event of the night, Macho Man Randy Savage going one-on-one with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Get out of here. Hang on a second, guys. My dogs felt it necessary to try to barge the door open. And I know if they got in, they'd knock the light over, and we just have a hell of a time here. So yeah, this was March 27th, 1988, from Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Trump Plaza. Again, the finals in that tournament, Macho Man Randy Savage capturing the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. It is definitely an emphasized athleticism match. It's going to go above the WrestleMania 1 main event. Just my take. Now we are getting into some of the good ones here. We got a couple good ones back to back here. Because up next is WrestleMania 5, the Mega Powers Explode. Back in Trump's backyard, Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey, April 2nd, 1989. The Mega Powers Explode. This was a huge card. 14 matches. 14 total matches. Couple things of note on this card. It was the WrestleMania debut of Mr. WrestleMania himself, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. His WrestleMania debut was WrestleMania 4. It was the Rockers taking on the Twin Towers, Akeem and Big Boss Man. You had Demolition defeating the Powers of Pain and Mr. Fuji in a really fun tag team match. Mr. Fuji had betrayed Demolition and went with the Powers of Pain. So they made it a handicap match for the tag team titles. You had the Hart Foundation taking on Rhythm and Blues, Greg Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man. Rick Rude defeated the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental Championship. And then the main event. Actually, you know what? There's another match. The Red Rooster defeated Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the Weasel Suit was involved. Super cool. And the main event, of course, Hulk Hogan defeating Macho Man Randy Savage for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship in 17 and just under 18 minutes, actually. Again, this was such a long-term storytelling with these guys. This is a near perfect match. The match itself. There's just the story in some of these matches were great. Like Hogan's matches at WrestleMania in the early years were really, really good. Maybe not wrestling classics, but they were damn good matches to watch. All right, let's go. Next is WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Challenge. Title for title, April 1st, 1990, from the Skydome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. 14 matches on the main card. 14 matches on the main card. Huge card for WrestleMania in one event. It still only went like 3 hours. Then again, some of these matches were like super short. Like we have the Hart Foundation defeating the Bolsheviks in 19 seconds. Rick Martel defeated Coco Beware in under 4 minutes. You had the Barbarian defeating Tito Santana in 4.5 minutes. Jim Duggan defeating Dino Bravo in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So a lot of short matches. The Big Boss Man defeated Akeem in under 2 minutes. So there's a lot of short matches, but they got 14 on the main card. Of course, the big match. Title for title, winner take all. The Ultimate Warrior, the Intercontinental Champion going in, defeated Hulk Hogan, the WWF Champion. Walked out with both belts. The match went about 25 minutes. Again, it wasn't like the greatest wrestling classic, but man, it is a near perfect match. I'm going to put it behind Hogan Andre, but ahead of Hogan Savage. Which could be controversial for some of you guys. Could be. Next is WrestleMania 7. WrestleMania 7. This is when the Sergeant Slaughter had turned turncoat. It took place from the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, March 21st, 1991. Another huge card, 14 matches on the card. A couple highlights, the Nasty Boys and the Hart Foundation for the tag team titles was really good. Boss Man and Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship. The Ultimate Warrior defeated Macho Man Randy Savage in a retirement match, which of course saw the return of Miss Elizabeth after Queen Sherry turned on the Macho King. But the main event, kind of a letdown compared to this era. Hulk Hogan capturing the WWF Championship from Sergeant Slaughter in 20 minutes. And to be perfectly honest, this is kind of like, it's going meh. This is probably my least favorite Hogan match of all of the matches from that era. Next up, WrestleMania 8. It's a double main event. But we're only talking about the very last match to go on. Now, the very last match to go on, which wasn't even a title match, which is kind of weird, but you know. This event took place April 5th, 1992, from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. 9 matches on the card. Some things of to note: a really great match between Bret Hart and Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental Championship. Bret Hart walking out with the Intercontinental title. And in the undercard, Randy Savage defeated the Nature Boy Ric Flair for the WWF Championship. And also the Natural Disasters defeated Money Inc. for the tag team titles. And in the penultimate match, a young Owen Hart defeated Skinner in about 90 seconds. Which leads us to the main event, not even the title match, which I think Savage and Flair should have main evented. But of course, Hogan must pose. Hulk Hogan defeated Sid Justice via disqualification in about 12 and a half minutes. This is the bottom of the meh. This is the bottom of the meh for me. I don't think Macho and Flair should have been in the middle of the card. They should have been the main event, the last match. But of course, in this era, Hogan must pose. And speaking of that, we move on to WrestleMania 9, April 4th, 1993. Caesar's Palace in Paradise, Nevada. And this is one of the most controversial WrestleManias, and arguably the worst WrestleMania in a lot of fans' eyes. The original planned main event was Yokozuna taking on Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. The match ends. Yokozuna pins Bret Hart after interference from Mr. Fuji throwing salt in the eye. And then the camera with the flash went off, like the fireball shot out, blinding Bret. Yokozuna picks up the win. But not to be outdone, Hulk Hogan, who had wrestled earlier on the card in a losing effort as part of the Mega Maniacs with tag team partner Brutus Beefcake taking on Money Inc., comes out to kind of protest, check on Bret. Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji challenge Hulk Hogan right then and there. Bret kind of points Hogan to go in and take the challenge. And of course, Hogan pins Yokozuna in 22 seconds to become the brand new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. And I think I'd have one, but this is because reasons, y'all. This is because reasons. So let's need to change this title real quick. So we have 3 likes on the video. So thank you all who've stopped in and liked. Nobody's chatted yet. If you come in, say something, say hi, chit chat. Okay, moving on. About a quarter of the way through now. WrestleMania 10, March 20th, 1994, from Madison Square Garden in New York City. A very good WrestleMania, in my opinion. It featured the ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, which unfortunately went really, really long, which kind of cut the main event short. But this is that weird one after the Royal Rumble where both Yokozuna and Bret Hart and Lex Luger, went over the top rope and their feet landed at the same time, causing 2 title matches on the card. Now, to make it fair, Bret Hart was also given a second match on the event. So in the opener, he went one-on-one with his brother, who had been in a long-standing feud with Bret, where Owen defeats Bret Hart in 20 minutes in one of the best wrestling matches in WrestleMania history, the opener of WrestleMania 10. You have Yokozuna defeating Lex Luger by disqualification, with Mr. Perfect as a special guest referee in just under 15 minutes. That's in the middle of the card. We have a couple matches in the ladder match, and then we get to the main event, the last match of the evening. Bret Hart defeated Yokozuna. Roddy Piper's your special guest referee. The match only goes about 10 and a half minutes because, every other matches went long. Yeah, man, this is a great match. I really, really like Bret and Yokozuna. It's either a low near perfect or a high emphasized athleticism. We're going to put it under the end of near perfect right now. I really, really love this match. Really, really love this match. The next one, however, moving along, WrestleMania 11, April 2nd, 1995, from the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. One of the shortest WrestleManias in history. Only 7 matches on the card. And the main event wasn't even a championship match. In the penultimate match, Diesel successfully defended the WWF Championship against Shawn Michaels. This match was famous because Diesel comes down with Pam Anderson. Shawn Michaels comes down with Sid and Jenny McCarthy. And I think Diesel ended up leaving with both ladies, so good for him. But in the main event, it was kind of a special attraction match. Pat Patterson is your special guest referee. And it was NFL legend, Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor with Carl Banks, Ricky Jackson, Steve Mongo McMichael, Ken Norton Jr., Chris Spielman, and Reggie White, defeating Bam Bam Bigelow, who had King Kong Bundy, Ted DiBiase, Kama, IRS, Tatanka, and Nikolai Volkov in his corner. There's some people that don't like it, but man, I love this match. I really, really love this match. It delivered way more than I think it had any right to deliver. It's definitely an emphasized athleticism. I'm going to slot it in here between WrestleMania 1 and 4. I really, really like this match. Bam Bam Bigelow deserves a ton of credit for carrying LT through this match. I mean, it only goes 11 minutes, 42 seconds, but Bam Bam carried him. Such a professional. LT, man, he was totally gassed within the first couple minutes, but still managed to pull off a pretty damn entertaining match. And again, I like it. I really, really love this match. Speaking of loving matches, we go on to WrestleMania 12, March 31st, 1996, from the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. Again, a shorter WrestleMania, but there's also only 6 matches on the card. There's a 6-man match. You had the infamous Hollywood backlot brawl between Roddy Piper and Goldust. Steve Austin taking on Savio Vega. Warrior and Triple H. Undertaker defeating Diesel. And in the main event, one of the best wrestling matches ever. 60-minute Iron Man match for the WWF Championship. Shawn Michaels defeats Bret Hitman Hart in 1 hour, 1 minute, and 56 seconds. They had to go into overtime because it was 0-0 after 60 minutes. Shawn picking up the win. The boyhood dream comes true. It's going in a GOAT. It's one of the greatest. This is one of the greatest WrestleMania matches ever. One of the greatest. If you haven't talked a lot, so my voice is going to be hurting tomorrow. Up next, WrestleMania 13, March 23rd, 97, from the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois. This WrestleMania has a lot of special meaning for me. You had The Rock defeating the Sultan to retain the Intercontinental Championship. You had Triple H defeating Goldust. Owen Hart and Bulldog taking on Mankind and Vader. Ahmed Johnson and LOD taking on the Nation of Domination. But you had 2 amazing matches on this card. Well, I guess really one amazing match, and the one that I like personally for obvious reasons. But you had Bret Hart taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin. This submission match with Ken Shamrock as special guest referee. Bret winning in 22 minutes and 5 seconds. This was the infamous shot where Stone Cold is in the sharpshooter. He's kind of writhing in pain, and he looks up, and his face is just a crimson mask. He's got the blood dripping down into his teeth. One of the most iconic shots ever. This match, such a good match. And the main event, which, if according to rumor and innuendo, the champion shit himself. Psycho Sid defending the WWF title against The Undertaker. Taker coming out in his classic black and gray attire. He had been donning the black and purple for a while now. Undertaker picking up his second WWF Championship reign. I mean, I won't put this in GOAT because it was Taker winning the belt at WrestleMania, but I'm going to put it par for the course. This is one of The Undertaker's weakest matches. I think most of his WrestleMania matches from here on out are pretty damn good, but we'll save that for another time. WrestleMania 14, March 29th, 98, from the Fleet Center in Boston, Massachusetts. It is the christening of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, there's some great matches in this card as well. Triple H and Owen Hart for the European title was pretty good. The Rock and Ken Shamrock for the IC title. You had the dumpster match between Cactus Jack and Terry Funk and the New Age Outlaws. Undertaker facing Kane for the first time ever. And in the main event, again, Stone Cold Steve Austin defeating Shawn Michaels to capture his first WWF Championship match. It's near perfect. I'm putting it here behind Hogan Andre. I think it's a little better than some of these others. Just something special about Hogan and Andre. Like, I kind of want to put Hogan and Andre up in the GOAT category. So I may do that later on while we're doing this. So we'll see what happens. Moving right along. We are almost done the 90s, guys. We are almost done the 90s. WrestleMania 15. First Union Center in Philadelphia, March 28th, 1999. Got a lot of matches on this card. You had, 10 matches on the main card, 2 on Sunday Night Heat. A couple highlights here. You had Owen and Jeff Jarrett defeating D'Lo Brown and Test to retain the tag team titles. Hardcore Holly, Al Snow, and Billy Gunn with the triple threat match for the Hardcore title. And a Brawl for All match, you had Butterbean knocking out Bart Gunn in 35 seconds. Bart Gunn going all the way through the Brawl for All tournament, surprising everybody, winning the whole damn thing. And rumor and innuendo is that as punishment for screwing up for Dr. Death Steve Williams, they fed Bart Gunn to Butterbean, who knocked him out in 35 seconds. You have, just getting some notifications on the phone there. Got a Hell in a Cell match. Undertaker defeating the Big Boss Man. Where after the match, the Undertaker murders a Big Boss Man by hanging him from the center of the cell. And in the main event, a no DQ match for the WWF Championship. Corporation were banned from ringside. Mankind was your special guest referee. The Rock defends the title against Stone Cold Steve Austin. The first in their trilogy of WrestleMania matches. And to me, this is probably the weaker of the three. It definitely emphasizes athleticism, but I'll just kind of put it in here in the middle of emphasizes athleticism. It was a good match. Again, I think it's the weakest of the three, in my opinion. Up next, WrestleMania 16, a.k.a. WrestleMania 2000. April 2nd, the year 2000, from the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. We got a big card here. Big card. You have 2-fall triple threat match for the IC and European titles with Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and Kurt Angle. Really, really good match. The Triangle Ladder match. This isn't quite TLC yet. The Triangle Ladder match. Edge and Christian capturing the WWF Tag Team titles from the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys were also in this match as well. In the main event, it was a 4-corner, 4-McMahon match where every competitor had a McMahon in their corner. You had Triple H with Stephanie retaining the WWF Championship against The Rock with Vince McMahon, Mick Foley with Linda McMahon, and The Big Show with Shane McMahon. A lot of hype, but man, I'm not going to lie, this is a meh. Yeah, we'll put par for the course. I get it. The star power alone gets it bumped up a little bit more. It wasn't a very good main event. The whole WrestleMania 2000 instead of, all that other stuff, it's kind of weak. But here we come to the granddaddy of them all, arguably the greatest WrestleMania ever. Now, 2 years ago, we did our tournament, March Madness style, and WrestleMania 17 won the Wrestling with Fans greatest WrestleMania event of all time tournament. And, of course, it was main evented. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeating The Rock to capture the WWF Championship in 28 minutes. Stone Cold Steve Austin turning heel. Also on that card, you had the Gimmick Battle Royal won by Iron Sheik. And you had TLC 2, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys. Edge and Christian walking out with the tag team titles yet again. You had Vince and Shane going one-on-one. This is right after the purchase of WCW. Shane defeats Vince McMahon in a street fight with Mick Foley as the special guest referee. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit in an amazing match. Eddie Guerrero and Test on there as well for the European title. Undertaker defeats Triple H to keep the streak alive. And, of course, the main event again. Stone Cold Steve Austin beating The Rock. 28 minutes. There's a lot of people that don't like the ending. But the hype and build for this is the My Way. The My Way music video match. Even heel turn aside, it's near perfect for me. I love everything about this match. Even the heel turn. But we're going to move along quickly here. WrestleMania X8, March 17th, 2002, returning to the Sky Dome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada for the first time in 12 years. And man, oh man. Now, oddly enough, Jen and I watched this match last night. She had never seen Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. So I let her see Hollywood Hogan versus The Rock. It should have main evented. It should have main evented. But this is a stacked card. You know, RVD and William Regal for the IC title. DDP and Christian for the European title. You had Kurt Angle going one-on-one with Kane. Taker and Ric Flair in a really, really good match. Edge and Booker T. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Scott Hall. A big four corners elimination match. The Hardys, the Dudleys, the APA, and Billy and Chuck. Of course, the aforementioned Rock and Hulk Hogan. But after that, there were two other matches. Jazz retained the women's title against Trish Stratus and Lita. And unfortunately, the main event that had to follow Rock and Hogan. Triple H, after making his triumphant return from the torn quad, defeats Chris Jericho to capture the WWF Undisputed Championship. Man, it's a good match, but it just falls flat. It's got to go somewhere here, kind of in the middle-ish, only because it had the unfortunate task of following Hogan and Rock. All right, we are moving right along here, guys. WrestleMania 19, Safeco Field, Seattle, Washington, March 30th, 2003. A lot of good matches on this card. You had Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title. Team Angle, which is Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, retaining the tag titles against Chris Benoit and Rhino and Los Guerreros, Chavo and Eddie. Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho in a one-on-one match. The infamous Triple H and Booker T World Heavyweight title match. Hulk Hogan defeating Mr. McMahon. The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock finally besting Steve Austin in what would turn out to be the very last match for now for the Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin. And in the main event, Brock Lesnar capturing the WWF Championship from Kurt Angle in 21 minutes, 7 seconds. Man, this is a classic. And the fact that this is a shooting star press match. Brock missed the shooting star press, potentially broke his neck, and still managed to finish the match. I love this match a lot. It's going to go somewhere here in the middle of the near perfect. It's such a great match. Even with the botched injury, love the match. Love the match. All right. Where it all begins again at WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden, March 14th, 2004. Gonna start seeing some more familiar names here, guys. We have Christian and Chris Jericho in a pretty good match. You have Evolution, Orton, Batista, and Flair taking on The Rock and Mick Foley. You have Goldberg and Brock Lesnar with Stone Cold Steve Austin as a special guest referee in the infamous match where they were both leaving. You have Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle for the WWE title. Really good match. Taker and Kane again. And then the main event, Chris Benoit captures the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from Triple H and Shawn Michaels in one of the greatest triple threat matches ever put together. And unfortunately, because of the circumstances around Chris Benoit, this match does not get the love that it deserves, but it is going up here in the near perfect category. Chris Benoit aside, it is a near perfect match. It is so well told between the three of them. All right. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood on April 5th, 2005 from the Staples Center in LA. We're going to move through these a little bit quicker now. Taker and Randy Orton in a really, really good match. The Money in the Bank, Edge, Jericho, Shelton Benjamin, Chris Benoit, Christian, and Kane on that card as well. John Cena captures his first WWE title from JBL. And in the main event, the Animal Batista capturing the World Heavyweight title from Triple H with Ric Flair. Also, underrated match on this card, Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels as well. But Batista and Triple H, the story they told was pretty good. It emphasizes athleticism. We'll put it in here. We'll put it in here. The great story, good match between the two. They worked very well together over the years. All right, WrestleMania goes big time from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, April 2nd, 2006. Man, we got some good ones on here. Money in the Bank, won by Rob Van Dam, also featuring Lashley, Finlay, Matt Hardy, Ric Flair, and Shelton Benjamin. JBL winning the U.S. title from Chris Benoit. Edge and Mick Foley in the hardcore match. Really, really fun match to watch. Mickie James and Trish Stratus for the women's title. Taker and Mark Henry in a casket match. Shawn Michaels and Mr. McMahon in a holds barred match. The really, really good triple threat match for the world title. Rey Mysterio winning from Kurt Angle, also Randy Orton in that match. But in the main event, big match John Cena defending the WWE title against Triple H, winning in 22 minutes and 2 seconds. It's kind of going back here. I was personally not a fan of this match at all, but it was still good. I'm just not a big fan. WrestleMania 23, the Battle of the Billionaires, April 1st, 2007, from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, making the return back to Detroit. Some big matches on this card as well. You had The Undertaker winning the world title from Batista. You had Bobby Lashley and Umaga in the Trump versus McMahon feud, hair versus hair, Battle of the Billionaires. Umaga will lose, therefore Mr. McMahon will get his head shaved. But in the main event, John Cena taking on Shawn Michaels. Triple H was also supposed to be involved in this, but he was out injured at the time. So Shawn Michaels is in there. 28 minutes, 20 seconds. John Cena retains via submission. Cena rubbed Michaels the wrong way during this match, but it is a good match. I mean, I'll give him credit. I'm going to put it on the lower end because I think some of these others had a better story involved with it than this one. But still, overall, a pretty good main event. Now we're getting into some of my favorite WrestleMania events. We have 24, March 30th, 2008, from the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. You have JBL and Finlay in a Belfast Brawl. You have Money in the Bank, which was won by CM Punk. You have Kane defeating Chavo for the ECW title in 11 seconds. You had the retirement of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, in one of the best wrestling matches in WrestleMania history. 20 minutes, 34 seconds. Shawn Michaels putting an end to the Nature Boy's career. You had a big triple threat match. Randy Orton retaining against John Cena and Triple H. Pretty darn good match. It was the Floyd Money Mayweather versus Big Show match in here as well. You had the Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match. Beth Phoenix and Melina taking on Ashley Massaro and Maria Kanellis. But in the main event, one of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever. The Undertaker capturing the World Heavyweight title from Edge in 24 minutes and 3 seconds. This is going to appear in the near perfect category. I loved this match. This is when Undertaker had some of his best stretches of matches here. Speaking of that, we come to the big one, WrestleMania 25, April 5th, 2009, from Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas. And unfortunately, it wasn't the main event, but it still has, to me, the greatest wrestling match ever as far as WrestleMania goes. Undertaker defeats Shawn Michaels in 30 minutes and 30 seconds. Cena, Big Show, and Edge for the World Heavyweight title was on that card as well. Matt versus Jeff. Rey Mysterio defeats JBL, and then he quits. CM Punk winning his second Money in the Bank ladder match. And in the main event for the WWE Championship, 24 minutes, 24 seconds, Triple H defending against Randall Keith Orton. And again, this match suffered because it had to follow Taker Shawn. So it's going to go right there with the last time Triple H had to follow a really good WrestleMania match. All right, guys, 26. University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, March 28th, 2010. And man, some people argue that this was the better match. Taker and Shawn Michaels in the main event. But let's look at the undercard real quick. He had Randy Orton defeated Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. Jack Swagger winning Money in the Bank. Mysterio versus CM Punk. This is Straight Edge Society CM Punk. Bret Hart making his long-awaited return to the WWE, defeating Mr. McMahon via submission. Chris Jericho and Edge. Cena and Batista. But the main event, the career versus streak match. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. 24 minutes of near perfection. But, it's perfect to me. We're going to put this up here. I think I dare put that above WrestleMania 12. Right now, that's the greatest match because it's the main event. I personally like the 25 match between the two, but it wasn't the main event, so it doesn't make the list. WrestleMania 27, the Georgia Dome, Atlanta, Georgia, April 3rd, 2011. We have what was a weird main event match. The Miz and John Cena. On the undercard, though, you have Edge and Alberto Del Rio, Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio, Orton and CM Punk, The Undertaker defeated Triple H in a no-holds-barred match in another instant classic between the two of them. The first of, I think, 3 matches between them at WrestleMania. And no, they had 2 back-to-back. Because End of an Era, I think, is next. Or maybe not. I don't remember. We're going to get to it. It's been so long. But in the main event, The Miz defeated John Cena to retain the WWE title. And, I love The Miz. I love the story they were telling. But, man, it's just kind of par for the course. After some of the undercard matches, this was kind of a letdown. The Rock got involved heavily, which I wasn't a huge fan of. But speaking of The Rock, he's coming up next. WrestleMania 28, Sun Life Stadium, Miami, Florida, April 1st, 2012. This had some big-time matches on it. You had Sheamus and Daniel Bryan, the 18-second match to open. Triple H versus Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell match. The End of an Era match. Shawn Michaels is a special guest referee. Another amazing match. CM Punk defeats Chris Jericho to retain the WWE title. But the main event, The Rock defeats John Cena. I am not a fan of this match. Not going to lie. Not a fan of the match. It's going par for the course. It was once in a lifetime, which turned out to be twice in a lifetime because it's WrestleMania 29, April 7th, 2013, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. We see John Cena defeating The Rock to capture the WWE title. Good undercard, though. Taker versus CM Punk. Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger. Fandango defeats Chris Jericho in a really big upset. Team Hell No defeats Big E and Dolph Ziggler. And The Shield defeats Big Show, Orton, and Sheamus. But again, the main event, John Cena and The Rock. It's going right there with the other one. Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of the match. Just got to get through them. WrestleMania 30, though, guys. Mercedes-Benz Superdome, New Orleans, April 6, 2014. Got a lot of good matches on this card as well. In the opener, Daniel Bryan defeated Triple H to earn his spot in the main event in nearly 26 minutes. A crazy good match between those two. Triple H put him over very, very well. But unfortunately, that was not the main event. We'll get to that, though. The Shield defeated Kane and the New Age Outlaws. Cesaro wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. John Cena and Bray Wyatt had their infamous match. And this was the end of an era. The end of the streak. Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker, giving him his first loss at WrestleMania. The end of the streak. But the main event delivered. Daniel Bryan, the Yes Movement, Batista, Randy Orton, triple threat WWE World Heavyweight title match. It's the top of the near perfect for me. It is going to the top of near perfect. Everything about it, the fact that the whole Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan finally getting to the top of the mountain, such a good match, such a good way to end it. I don't quite think it's on the level of 26 and 12, but man, it is right there, neck and neck with it. Moving on, WrestleMania 31, Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, March 29, 2015. All right, here we have some interesting matches here. Triple H and Sting. I don't think I really need to talk about that one very much. Taker and Bray Wyatt is on there as well. You had the IC title ladder match. Daniel Bryan, Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, R-Truth, and Stardust. Cody Rhodes. But the main event was Brock Lesnar defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. However, cashing in his Money in the Bank, turning it into a triple threat match halfway through the match, Seth freaking Rollins comes in and steals one, capturing the WWE World Heavyweight title in 16 minutes and 43 seconds. I really, really enjoyed it for what it was. I'm putting this up here. Emphasize athleticism. It's going on the higher end of this one here. Really fun match. Seth cashing in was a great surprise. Really, really enjoyed that one. WrestleMania 32 from AT&T Stadium, the home of this year's WrestleMania, April 3rd, 2016. And let's see here. Scroll down. There's a lot of info here to get to. So we have Zack Ryder winning the IC title, only to lose it the next night. Chris Jericho and AJ Styles in AJ Styles' WrestleMania debut. Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in a no-holds-barred street fight. You had Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks in a triple threat match. You had The Undertaker, Shane McMahon, Hell in a Cell match. You had Rock defeating Eric Rowan in a quick 6 seconds. And the main event saw Triple H defend the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. Roman winning the match. Triple H winning the belt back at the Royal Rumble. Roman had to defend the belt in the Royal Rumble. Triple H capturing the belt at WrestleMania. I hate to say it, but meh. This is the part where, the time where Roman Reigns just kind of shoved down our throats. Nobody wanted it. Everybody was cheering for Triple H. But Roman getting the win. Now we're moving on to WrestleMania 33. Camping World Stadium, Orlando, Florida, April 2, 2017. Another big match. You got AJ Styles and Shane McMahon to open. KO and Jericho in a great match that apparently Vince McMahon didn't like. You had the triple threat match for the Raw tag titles, which turned into a fatal four-way with the returning Hardy Boys and one of the biggest pops ever. Such a great moment. Hardy Boys capturing the Raw tag team titles there. You had John Cena and Nikki Bella defeating Miz and Maurice. John Cena would eventually propose to Nikki Bella. That obviously did not go anywhere. Seth Rollins and Triple H in a non-sanctioned match. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt for the WWE title. Brock Lesnar defeating Goldberg for the Universal title. And you had a 6-woman match. But the main event, loss number 2 for The Undertaker. Roman Reigns defeats The Undertaker in 25 minutes, 30 seconds. And this is going in the meh. I really hate putting it here. I just did not like the match, the way the match was laid out. I obviously didn't think Taker was going to beat Roman. It's not like that. It's just I didn't like how the match was laid out. I didn't like a lot about how the match played out at all. Like, that's all I can really say. I just didn't like how the match played out. Wasn't a fan. But it's going at the top of the meh category. All right. WrestleMania 34, 2018. April 8th. We're getting close to the end here, guys. Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. We have, in the main event, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, which, oddly enough, we are getting again this year. But let's look at some of the other matches on that card. You had Seth Rollins, The Miz, and Finn Balor for the IC title. Charlotte and Asuka's first loss in WWE. Still not happy about that. You had Ronda Rousey's debut with the company, tag teaming with Kurt Angle to defeat Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. The Undertaker defeats John Cena in a quick 2-minute, 45-second match. He had Daniel Bryan in his return to the ring, teaming with Shane McMahon to defeat KO and Sami Zayn. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in the low blow contest for the WWE title. And then you had the worst tag team match in the history of WrestleMania, Braun Strowman and Nicholas winning the Raw tag titles from the Bar. Still not happy about that. But in the main event, Brock Lesnar defeats... getting text message. Brock Lesnar defeats Roman Reigns to retain the Universal title. It's going here par for the course. Like, there's nothing memorable about it for me. All right, 35 guys. April 7th, 2019, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. In the 37-hour WrestleMania event, 16 matches, 12 on the main card, 4 on the pre-show. It opened with Seth defeating Brock Lesnar in 2.5 minutes, which is kind of weird. We had a great match between AJ Styles and Randy Orton. The Usos defeat Aleister Black and Ricochet, Rusev, and Shinsuke, and The Bar. Really good SmackDown title match. Shane McMahon and The Miz, just whatever. The women's tag team titles were on the line. Bayley and Sasha losing and then kind of losing their smiles. The Iconics won that one there. Kofi defeats Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Kofi Mania in full effect. Roman Reigns defeats Drew McIntyre. Triple H defeats Batista in a no-hold-barred match. Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle in Kurt Angle's retirement match. The Demon Finn Balor defeated Bobby Lashley for the IC title. And in the main event, which still may be going on to this day, Becky Two Belts is born. SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion. It was a winner-take-all match. Becky Lynch defeating them both in 21.5 minutes. Becky Two Belts was born. This is going up in the near-perfect category, but it's going to kind of in here in the middle somewhere. We're going to put it up here. It was a great match. I loved that match. All right, y'all. 36. We're getting close to the end here. March 25th and 26th, 2020, the first ever two-night WrestleMania. This is at the beginning of the pandemic. from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. So we're going to have 2 matches. Night 1 had some really good ones. KO and Seth, Braun Strowman and Goldberg, John Morrison and Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston. It was a triple threat singles match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Becky and Shayna Baszler. You had Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan for the IC title. But the main event, the first real cinematic match in WWE history, the Boneyard match. The Undertaker defeating AJ Styles with the Good Brothers. I'm going to catch some flack for this, but this is going up here in the near perfect category. Somewhere in the middle. I loved everything about this match. It was brilliant. It was well shot. The story was great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Say what you will. The Boneyard match was awesome. Don't at me. And on night 2, we get another main event for this WrestleMania. On the undercard, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley, Edge and Randy Orton. You had Bayley versus Sasha, Lacey, Naomi, and Tamina. The Fiend and John Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match, which I absolutely loved. But the main event, in a rematch from years prior, Drew McIntyre defeats Brock Lesnar in 4.5 minutes to capture the WWE Championship. And then there was a dark match, which we didn't see, so we're not going to count it because it wasn't on the pay-per-view. Drew McIntyre defeated the Big Show right after that in 7 minutes to retain the title. But the main event was Drew and Brock. I hate to say it, but your crowning moment, Drew, is par for the course. Just, I can't give it any more than it was. I mean, I don't hold that against you because it was crazy circumstances in 2020. But 2021, we go back to the Pirate theme. WrestleMania 37, Raymond James Stadium, April 10th and 11th, 2021, Tampa, Florida. Night 1. The Night 1 main event, Bianca Belair's crowning achievement, defeating Sasha Banks. Such a historic match, you know. 2 women main eventing WrestleMania in a one-on-one match. 2 minorities, 2 black women wrestling in the main event of a WrestleMania. Amazing match. Bianca and Sasha delivered. I don't even want to talk about the rest of it because this match deserves all the credit in the world. It's going up here in near perfect. I absolutely love the match. I just can't see anything else great about it. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go out of your way to watch it. Night 2, the final one here. Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the tribal chief, the Blue Universal Champion, defending against Edge and Daniel Bryan in a triple threat match. I'm going to put it at the top of the emphasized athleticism. I don't think it cracks the near perfect. For me, there's not enough substance to it. But that's the list. That is the list. Oh, man. This went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, y'all. But let's run it down. You have Taker, Michaels, and then the boyhood dream coming true at WrestleMania 12. Near perfect, you got WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 35, 36, 37, 3, 24, 14, 26, 5, and 10. Then you have some of the good mix there. I'm not going to go all the way through them all. You can see there on the screen what we had. But that is my tier ranking of the WWE WrestleMania main events.
This is such good shit.
Kind of surprised I'm still awake, to be perfectly honest. I am exhausted. And no one has been in here for a while, so we're going to end the stream here, guys. Tomorrow night, we'll talk some more WrestleMania stuff. May do another tier list, but until then, thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle, and I will see you next time. See you tomorrow night right here on Wrestling with Fans.